Hi, I'm Peter Tragos, host of the Lawyer You Know podcast and YouTube channel. The saying goes, everyone hates lawyers until you need one. Well, I'm here when you need one to answer your questions and give you insight that you didn't know you needed. Along with my partners, Pete Sardis, the professor, who has a finance and business background, and George Tragos, my dad, and the consigliere, a criminal defense giant, we can answer any questions you have. What's up, everybody? We're here talking about a case we broke down throughout the trial, and that's Trevor Summers. A lot of you have been reaching out, asking me about this sentencing. What happened? How did it happen like this? What does it mean? And the truth is, we're not positive yet. The truth is, I have not seen official documentation about this sentence just yet. It's basically secondary reporting of what's happening inside the courtroom, because I don't see a video of the sentencing hearing. We looked up the docket here in our backyard in the Tampa Bay area, and it does show that sentencing happened today, along with a couple of other court orders about, deposition costs and something the DCA did. But we don't actually see the JNS, the judgment and sentencing, that we use in civil cases to show if you've been convicted of crimes. You use a JNS. It's the official document that the court gives down about what the judgment is and what the sentence is. We will talk about what the reported sentence is. If any of you have documents or have anything more concrete on this case and on this sentence, send it to me here at Tragos Law on Twitter or Instagram. Make sure you give us a follow on there if you haven't already. But welcome in to another live. We've got about maybe 20 or 30 minutes. It's not going to be horribly long. If you guys have questions, let me know what those questions are, and we'll answer those questions as well. Joe, yes, this is live. We are on here just to talk a little bit about this sentencing. Again, we've talked about how sentencing works, but I want to give you an indication of to what this actually means when you have a case like this and a reported sentence like this. J. Michael RN said Law and Crime is supposedly releasing the video to another Tampa attorney. Okay. Well, whenever it comes out, we'll talk about it kind of more in detail. I don't know why it wasn't streamed live. The sentencing hearing was this morning at 9 a.m. according to the court minutes on the Hillsborough website. But when we talk about sentencing in any case, we learn a lot from sentencing about what the judge thinks about the case. Before we get to that, hit the like button on the video if you haven't already, and subscribe to our page if you guys are not subscribers yet. I see a lot of members in the chat, and while we love our members and you want to check that out, it is in the video description. You can click join now and run through those steps if you want to be a member of the channel. Don't feel like you have to. It's just something extra for fun to do some different kind of less serious videos with the members. All right, let's see here. All right, so what we learn in sentencing, because judges sentence criminal defendants here in Florida, not juries, is what a judge thinks about a case. And it can be very different than what jurors think about a case many times, because the jurors don't get to see everything. They don't see all the arguments. They don't see all the litigation leading up to the trial. The jurors just see the trial. They just see the evidence that comes out in trial. And while judges should or shouldn't, or whether it's right or wrong, they have a much bigger picture. They know what evidence could have come in, may have been admissible or inadmissible, see how the parties interact and how they are throughout the case, whether or not there is any remorse or any admittance of wrongdoing or anything like that. They see everything that goes on in a case. And specifically in this case, they see all the lawyers Trevor Summers went through. They see how he strategically did not represent himself until it was time to cross-examine his ex-wife and his children. They see how many of you said that he looked cold-blooded and cold-hearted throughout the entirety of this case. And when a judge sees that and understands the process and sees how it goes, now he's not going to hold anything against him for representing himself or how he did during trial or anything like that. But he is going to consider aggravating factors about the cold-bloodedness and the lack of remorse. And he didn't take the stand. He didn't testify. So there's no potential perjury to tack on anything like that if he feels like Trevor Summers lied. So there won't be any of that. But all reports at this point, Trevor Summers convicted on 11 counts, including kidnapping, sexual abuse, and multiple counts of attempted murder. Convicted on all 11 counts. And all reports are that this judge handed down multiple life sentences. Multiple life sentences for these convictions. And that tells you that this judge did not believe Trevor Summers. This judge agreed with the jury's verdict, because sometimes if the judge, wants to hedge their bets a little bit or split the baby, or they kind of believe the defendant or feel bad for the defendant or think there's some mitigating factors, they will give somewhere near the lower end or just even one life sentence in this case. But all reports are saying it is multiple life sentences, which, as we know from the charges that he was convicted of, that's possible. And that's within the judge's discretion to give multiple life sentences. And the judge did exactly that. So it seems from all the reports, but it seems like we may learn more later. And when we do, we can always, of course, do a follow-up video. But are you surprised that the judge would give such a harsh penalty? Let me know in the comments. Is this more, less, or exactly what you expected based on what you saw in the trial? Because that's really what I want to know. You all are jurors out there, and if this was a death penalty case, you may be making the decision if you were in Florida, because the jury decides, as we're seeing in Nicholas Cruz, if it's a death penalty case, the jury actually decides that punishment. So what do you think? Do you think this was too harsh, not harsh enough, or right in the sweet spot of an appropriate sentence if, in fact, Trevor Summers was sentenced to multiple life sentences? Jackie DBD, Stitch Art, is a new member. Thanks for joining, Jackie, and welcome. Most of you are commenting right now, appropriate sentence. Linda thinks it was over the top. Most are thinking it's appropriate, and it's within that sweet spot. Fair and appropriate. So really only one vote for over the top. Nobody's saying it's too lenient. I don't know how multiple life sentence can be too lenient. Just Aaron says it's extreme since no one died. Hello, Rita. Guilty but overcharged. Some sentence but life, Stella said. Seems like so really it seems like maybe 75% appropriate, 25% over the top. Nobody thinks it was too lenient and he should have gotten the max amount of life sentences, whatever that would have looked like. Wynette, Peter, any chance of getting an attorney to discuss insurance claims from Hurricane Ian and how to handle all of this? So Wynette, if you check us out on Instagram, Pete Sardis and I did this actually during the hurricane, and we broke this down in detail. Now, what I can do is look into posting that video on YouTube as well. If you all don't have Instagram, at Tragos Law right here is our Instagram handle. Check out our reels where we tried something different doing it on Instagram. Didn't know if I was going to have internet. So Instagram was kind of easier with my phone and with service. So that's why I kind of went that way. Anne-Marie Mitchell said, Peter, I sent an 8-minute video from Law and Crime on Twitter. I don't know if there's much on it. I think the judge has called it as it is. Not sure what that means. But I will check that out. I will check it out. And if we get more information on this, we can always pop in, do another live later this week and talk about it. If I knew there was going to be this issue with reporting, I would have just driven over there myself and sat in the sentencing. But I figured it was either going to be live streamed or everybody would be reporting about it afterwards. I didn't know it was going to be some secret. I mean, I knew he was going to get a life sentence or something equivalent to a life sentence. I didn't know if he was going to get multiple. I didn't know if it was going to be 80 years or if it was actually going to be life, but interesting. So Kool-Aid says he shouldn't have gotten the murder charge, but yes to the rest. Yeah, well, sometimes it's hard to call it overcharging when the jury does convict him as well, but I get your sentiment for sure. I understand. Rich Cat, I imagine there were factors we might not be aware of, interactions with the judge witness that gave him reason to believe Summers needs to be taken out of population for life. Theoretically, that stuff shouldn't really be taken into account. It can be technically an aggravating factor. But, his interaction outside the trial really shouldn't come into play much with the judge's sentencing. But I get what you're saying, and absolutely it could. Judges are people too. Mo thinks that's way too harsh. Just watch John and Mike. Happy you're covering too. I don't know if they had any more information. So if you guys want to check out that video after this one, I'm not sure who John is, but I think Mike, Law Talk with Mike, somebody was saying earlier they were listening to. Yeah, Anne-Marie, he's got federal charges, I think, on something else. We haven't really covered that part of it. This was the part of the case everybody was more interested in. This was the part of the case everybody was asking for. And of course, it was here in Florida. It seems like all of these crazy cases are in Florida. OnlyFans, Nicholas Cruz, this one, Gabby Petito, Dan Markel. There are so many cases in Florida that it just seems wild that all this stuff happens here. But Stella, life here in Florida is life without parole. So he will not be getting out, especially with multiple life sentences. Oh, John Robbins is a local Tampa attorney. Okay. Why has it got to be Florida? Crazy Florida, man. Yeah, once again, that's what all the headlines are. Okay, so Tori said 3 life sentences and 32 years for the other counts. Oh, John Robine, this person said, is the Tampa lawyer you heard mentioned as having the video. He doesn't have a channel, but he's been on many channels. Okay, yeah, I do know who John Robine is. Yeah, I have seen him on some other videos. Okay, so yeah, I mean, 4 life sentences, 3 life sentences, 2 life sentences, 32 years, whatever it may be. We all get the sentiment. The judge hammered him. The judge threw the book at him. The judge is putting him away for life. He is not getting out, but he is going to appeal. He does have some appellate issues. We'll see how much he uses counsel, how much he tries to do it himself. He seems like somebody that may try to do himself. We've had clients that have done that. I know people that have tried to handwrite appeals themselves. They're not usually successful, but a lot going on in this case and a lot of potential for appeals. And when you have a sentence like this, you literally have nothing else to think about but to try and appeal this case. So we do expect an appeal. We'll see what happens. If anything comes out reporting wise of it, we will cover it as usual. We try to hit all the cases you guys are interested in. There's not a ton to talk about here, but enough of you asked to where I wanted to hop on, talk about it a little bit, talk about what multiple life sentences means, why the judge would do something like this. But if we get more, as I said, we'll jump back in. We'll jump back in and do it more. Let's see here. Yeah, I also today am recording a video that a lot of people have asked about ever since I mentioned it on a live, and that is the rights that people waive without even thinking about it. So that video is going to be in the bank. We're going to do some editing to it, probably put some graphics on it and stuff like that, but that'll be coming out later this week. Keep an eye out for that. Thank you, Azam, and welcome in here. Yeah, Crazy Cat Queen. It actually has worked before. It's not a 0% chance of winning. It actually has worked before, people doing appeals themselves, but it's not the best course of action. But yes, so that video is going to come out this week. We've got a couple other things in the works. Check out Instagram too. We're actually going to post it here on YouTube as a short. There's a new potential case / podcast series that some of you may be interested in. And I want to know if you wanted my reaction and my take on it. So let me know. Please go check that out. It's a short that's going to be posting tonight. Check it out. Let me know. It's very short. Let me know in the comments if it's something you want to watch and follow. If it's not, let me know. Don't feel bad about that. People have content ideas all the time. Sometimes I'll do some short testers to see if you guys are interested in it. If you're not, don't feel bad. And I also can't feel bad if I can't do a case that you guys are mentioning because there's not enough interest. I always try to pick what has the most interest in it. So that people can really know and watch what they're interested in and what they can learn most from and what I can try to add some value to. So make sure you hit that alert or that bell or whatever it's called and subscribe to our page so you don't miss out on that and some of the future videos we have this week. A lot of cool stuff coming. We're trying some different content. Some of it takes a little more time to put together and more editing and producing and stuff like that. We're going to try to do more of that to bring a little different edge to the channel, but there's always going to be a lot of lives. There's always going to be a lot of Q&A because that's what we're here for. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you don't miss out on the future videos to drop, but I really want to know what you think of the short that I post today. So make sure you check that out. I appreciate all of you. That's all we got for this short live. I told you it wasn't going to be unbearably long, but I appreciate you all coming in. Hit that like button on the way out. I'm out of here.